devil. I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V-I, I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V-I, I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V, I'm the D-E-V-I-L. I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V-I, I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V-I, I'm the D-E, I'm the D-E-V, I'm the D-E-V-I-L, the devil.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the final word of this week here with MattyB on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. How is everybody doing on this beautiful Thursday night, January the 23rd, 2025? Good to see you all again. Good to be here. Great to be here, actually. Great to be here. Whenever you can breathe, the breath of life is good to be here. That's a good thing anyway. So this is just a plus that I get to come back for yet another great riveting episode of the final word here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network that desperately needs your help. That's right. I'm like the guy that comes on those infomercials at 4 a.m. when, the dog's freezing outside and chained up to the, fence and everything. I'm that guy. I'm like, listen, right now we're struggling. I'm that guy, man. I'm pleading with you at 4 a.m. to like and subscribe on especially our YouTube platforms as we're looking to get this thing off the ground and running. We're doing okay. Listen, I ain't going to sit here and I'm not going to tell you that I don't appreciate all the help and all that, but we need more. Straight up, we need more. So please, if you find it in your hearts, like and subscribe. You will not be disappointed. Right. All right. But with all that, let's get into it because we are in panic. No, I'm not going to say panic mode. We're not in panic mode in Delaware Valley. We're in denial mode a lot of times when it comes to this football team. And the closer we get to big games, the more denial I hear. And the more homerism. Homerism is a real thing. And I am not here to condemn those inflicted with homerism. I'm not. I've said this before, and I will say it again. It's a PSA. It's MattyB's PSA. I don't do many PSAs, but tonight I'm going to do one for all the homers who are suffering from the disease of homerism. I'm here. There's help. Please reach out. I will get you some help. I will get you I will put you in touch with the people that can help you. They're called deprogrammers, right? You've heard of those guys, right? The ones that come around, snatch you up, put you in the back of a van, drive you off to some abandoned warehouse, keep you awake for 72 hours and try to wipe out all that stuff that you're kind of confused about. But no, seriously, I am here. I am here to help you because I truly feel for you. Because I used to be you. I used to be a homer. Not a slobbering homer. I've never been a slobbering homer. I was a homer. And I know it's not, once you've been liberated from that, once you've shaken the coil away, life is so much more cheerier. And take it from me. I live a very cheery life. So I'm here to help you. And tonight, I am not condemning you. I feel sorry for you. I do. And I want to help. So please contact me so I can get you in touch with the right people that are out there, trained professionals that are going to get you on the road to recovery. But that's not going to help you, I guess, for this weekend because the homerism is rampant around the airwaves here in the Delaware Valley. It's rampant on the talk radio scene. It's rampant here on the internet on these grassroots talk shows that people do. It's rampant all over the place, and I don't have time to listen to all of it. I have a life, and unfortunately, I can't sit here in front of a computer or glued to my phone all day because I have things I got to do. But the stuff that I do pick up, and maybe it's not enough. Maybe I got to be more widened in my listening. But the stuff that I've been picking up has been truly disgusting. Truly disgusting. I don't feel, I guess, the same way a lot of other people do, and I guess that's part of my problem. And it's also it's part of what endears me to people, and what part of me repels me from people too. And it's a tough cross to carry. It's a tough cross to carry. I have equated myself in the past to a man that's here for a specific reason. I have said that I have been placed here upon this earth at this time for a reason. And that cup that I have to carry is not easy at times. And at times I do ask my Father to relieve me of the burden of that cup. But I understand that I am here to save mankind from the infliction of Homerism. And yes, I accept that. Just call me Messiah. But no, for all seriousness, I do believe Homerism is a disease. It's serious. And I really do want to help. So we're going to talk not necessarily about homers tonight. I'm not going to waste my time, but I am going to talk about some of the rhetoric that I've been hearing. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that they want you to believe out there about the state of their football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm also going to discuss, we're going to do a little bit of MLB hot stove check-in. There's been some action on the front of the MLB free agent market. None of it involving the Phillies, as more and more top names fall off the list. I believe we're down to just two now. Pete Alonso and Alex Bregman still out there without contracts, but the rest of them seem to have been falling off. But we're going to get you updated on the hot stove. Your day in Philadelphia sports history, of course, and of the night segment, the card review, and then my Phillies all-time roster continues. We're going to do right field tonight, or as I like to call it when it comes to the Phillies outfield of all time, just the outfield, because I'm not, with the exception of Richie Ashburn, who I put in center field, everybody else is an outfielder. It's just we can mix and match, because I don't really care defensively what's happening in my outfield with my Phillies all-time roster, with the exception of center field. The corner outfield spots are manned by two players that are not naturally that position, but I don't care because they're there for their offense anyway. And we'll talk about that, except for Gary Maddox. But he can cover any position in the outfield from any position in the outfield. So I don't care where I put him out there. He does what he has. I have him listed as a left fielder because I took Richie as a center. But tonight we'll talk right field. And a long about way for me to say that. We'll also get into the Flyers. I believe they're in between the first and second period right now. It's 2-1 Rangers at that point, and this point of the game. Maybe we'll get into some more Flyers talk. And again, my card review segment. So a lot of things to kind of wrap into this 1 hour. I'm actually trying to take a test. I'm trying to get certified in the state of Pennsylvania. Every year you got to certify through the state to coach or to umpire and high school. And it's a pain in the ass is what it is. It's a pain in the ass test. But every year I got to take this damn thing. So I've been trying to do that all night. So busy night here for me as well. But we're going to try to get into all that, and then some tonight on the final episode of our broadcasting week of the It's a Word program. And but let's remind everybody that just because I'm here and I'm ending up my broadcasting week does not mean that we are ending up our broadcasting on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. No, sir, Bob. Because immediately following me, or more specifically, immediately following the Flyers game, our boy Sal is going to come at you with the Clear the Ice program, Flyers Rangers post game. I'm on the post game show tomorrow. A busy day for me tomorrow. Even though I don't have this show, I have the Clear the Ice tomorrow at post game Islanders, and before that at 4:30, I got the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn, our weekly quintessential Eagle pregame show, where me and Kyle sit down and talk about the game that was and the game that will be, as now we prepare for the NFC Championship game. Of course, Kyle Quinn from the fine folks over there at 94 WIP will join me. Me and Kyle have been breaking this stuff down for 5 years. 5 years. Every now and again, it dawns on me, it hits me, man, we've been doing this show for 5 years on various different platforms. Of course, I have not been on this platform for 5 years. I've been on this platform for about 4 months. But over the course of 5 years and on various platforms, me and Kyle have come together for a rendition of the Birds Blast. It's had many different names, but now we're on the Birds Blast. So tomorrow, 4:30, me and Kyle. And then we got the post game tonight and tomorrow, me and Kyle on Friday. And then the big one, the Birds Flyby Eagles Commanders post game following the NFC Championship game on Sunday. Still toying with the idea of doing a pregame. Still toying with it. I got to talk to the powers that be and see if we can get one together. I would like also to bring all the personalities of the It's a Wrap network together for this. And again, that's going to take some doing because everyone's got lives. So I'm going to try to see what I can do about that, to include our newest member, Mike Laurel, to see if he's available. And we're just going to try to kick some things around. We're going to have some fun, hopefully. Maybe try to get a little bit more extra coverage of a very important game on Sunday. So let's get into it, right? Let's get into what we got to do, what we came here to do tonight. And that's our day, or one of our first thing, which we always lead off with on this show, your day in Philadelphia sports history. Back to the year 2005, January 23rd. I'm going to give the assembled people in the chat. I can see there's a few of you out there. I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to chime in with what you think occurred on this day in 2005 in Philadelphia sports history. I'll give you a hint. It is Eagles related, and might have been one of the best days of my Eagles life, honestly, on this day back in 05. I'll give you 3, 2, 1. Anybody want to comment? No? Okay, I'll tell you what happened. Back on this day in 2005, the Eagles finally broke through. Finally, after 4 straight NFC Championship game appearances, 3 losses, they finally broke through against the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC Championship game. The hallelujah uttered by Brian Dawkins pretty much summed up every damn Eagles fan's feelings at this point. They beat them 27-10 on a bitterly cold day in Lincoln Financial Field, clicking the ticket or punching the ticket to the Eagles for Super Bowl 39 showdown with the Patriots, which of course they ended up losing. But boy, was that a sweet day. That was a great day. It was one of the best days in my life as an Eagle fan. You got to understand, coming from the era that I came from, being raised in the 80s, being a very small child when last time they had gone to the Super Bowl back in 1981. This was the first time they went back since then. And we had gotten close, especially those 3 straight years, and finally broke through on this day in convincing fashion. It was 27-10. It was a close game throughout, but just it culminated with just a great effort. The Dawkins hit on Crumpler, the Chad Lewis touchdown where he breaks his leg at the end to seal the game at the end. I mean, just so many memorable moments of that day, and and I think in a lot of ways, because we would go on and of course lose Super Bowl 39, but I think in a lot of ways that might have been the Super Bowl that year. I think a lot of Eagles fans were so relieved to get to the Super Bowl that we kind of lost maybe our eye on the ultimate prize, which was to actually win the damn thing. Not to say the team felt that way, because they battled their butts off against New England in that game. I mean, say what you want about T.O. Say what you want about him as a person and his character, whatever, but the guy was a warrior. Came back from a broken leg after 9 weeks or 7 weeks of rehab, and had a hell of a game, actually. So again, say what you want about him. The Eagles, it was a battle against the Patriots, but I know in my mind it sucked losing the Super Bowl, especially the season ended. And a little known fact, and this is something that I'll never forget. 2 days before this championship game, my first wife, ex-wife at the time, or now, but at the time my wife, 2 days before that, informed me that I was going to be a father with our oldest daughter, who's now 19. So it was a very special weekend. Now, of course, my dumb ass, and maybe the reason why I ended up getting divorced was because all I could think about was the NFC Championship game. And I was the guy. I might have just been like, "Oh, that's great." So, have you seen the latest from practice? I mean, I don't think I was that cold about it, but yeah, it was. I remember the weekend very well. I remember the game. I remember everything that led up to it very well. And of course, 2 weeks later, we lost to the Patriots. But on this night, it finally happened. The Eagles got to the Super Bowl. We're back to the Super Bowl when they beat the Falcons 27-10 in a 2005 NFC Championship game at Lincoln Financial Field, a place where, of course, it has correlations to what's about to happen over the next couple of days, where the Eagles will face the Washington Commanders for the first time ever at Philadelphia sports. The Philadelphia Eagles have ever faced a Washington franchise team, whether it be the Redskins or the Commanders, in the NFC Championship game. And First time since I believe I did the numbers here. Let me open up my notebook because I did this a few days ago. The first time since 1986-87 season that it's been an all NFC East championship game. The Giants and the Redskins were the last teams to do it, and that was 86-87, where it was all NFC East. So somewhat of a return of NFC East glory at the very least. But does the NFC East have an opportunity on Sunday to flex their muscle and say, look at us, NFC North? You know, you had all these great teams, and you had all these multiple digit win teams. You had the 15-win Lions and 14-win Vikings and all this, but yet here we are standing at the end with two NFC East teams about to do battle for the right to go to the Super Bowl. And of course, it kind of leads me to my first point of the night. Again, this goes back to homerism. And this goes back to the infliction that is homerism. And as I said, I wish you could really feel the love I have for people who are suffering from it, because I know you're deep down, you're good people. And I know deep down you're God-fearing people. And I know deep down you're patriotic American people. You're just inflicted with a terrible disease that there is help for you. Please reach out and contact me, and I will help you through this. I will liberate you. I will free your mind. And I'm telling you, life will be a lot better. But the first point of my night is driven towards the theme of my show, or the title of my show, that I am playing with house money. The conversation has been rampant about the house money thing, that the Commanders are playing with house money, right? And then I've heard various homers come and try to say that that's ridiculous, that's redunculous. What are you talking about? Players don't look at it like that. Only teams look at it like that. Organizations don't look at it like that. Only fans look at it like that. And I am on the kind of cusp of agreeing, but in this case, how can you not look at the Washington Commanders if you're a Commanders fan? If you're a Commanders ownership, if you had a stake in the ownership, the team last year won 4 freaking football games. They cleaned house, new quarterback, he's a damn rookie, new head coach, new ownership group. The whole thing is new. And they come out of the gate and they get to the NFC Championship game. How can you not look at that as a success as it is right now? How can you possibly feel that if you lose on Sunday that the season was a failure? I don't understand it. A team that has not been even in a NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl since 6 months after I graduated high school. I mean, come on, man. I don't get that. It's not like they were a perennial that took a step backwards over a couple seasons. No, they've been a dog for a long time. And when they've had glimpses of success along the way, it's been fleeting because they've gotten knocked out first, second round of the playoffs. They have not advanced to the NFC Championship game since the 91-92 season. So to sit here and not think that the Washington Commanders as a franchise and as a coaching staff is not telling their players, you go out there and do what you do and do not overthink it. You go out there and play the way you've played over a 7-game winning streak going into this game. They just knocked off Detroit. Go out there and do what you do. It don't matter. We succeeded at this point. We have something to build off of. They are far from a complete product, the Washington Commanders. They are far from it. They are very much so in the beginning stages of beginning to be a very good football team. And there's no guarantees. They could go out next year and they could lose, win 5 games. I can say the same thing about the Eagles too. But right now, to not have that swag about you and that chip on your shoulder that, I'm playing with house money. That doesn't really matter. I ain't supposed to be here anyway. We're not supposed to be in this game. We're not supposed to be battling for the right to go to the friggin' Super Bowl in the NFC. We won 4 games last year. We got a rookie head coach. We got a rookie quarterback. We're not supposed to friggin' be here. So to go into that, so for the Eagles fans specifically, and I don't think the Eagles are having that same approach that the fans are, but for the homers out there, and I'm talking to you, you know who I'm talking to. You homers out there who are, one, delusional about that situation, about that the Washington Commanders are a dangerous team simply for the fact that they're not supposed to be there, that this is not what it's supposed to be, that they are indeed playing with house money. That makes them even more dangerous because there's going to be an air of abandon in their gameplay. Dan Quinn is going to throw every friggin' thing but the kitchen sink at the Eagles on Sunday. And to not have concern about that as an Eagle fan should even test the deepest of homerism inflicted people out there. Because to kind of brush it off like, nah, how can you say that? Is simply insanity. Now, the Eagles, on the other hand, are going into this game with all the pressure on them. And once again, I've heard Homer say, "You're wrong. That's not what the Eagles are playing the same way. They're loose. They're together. This is the deepest team I've ever seen. They're kumbaya and they're brothers. That's a symptom of homerism, over evaluating or over reading in the room. But to think that the Eagles don't have all the pressure weighing down on them is, again, insanity. Of course they have all the pressure. They are supposed to be here. They've been working for this moment ever since they got bounced out of the Super Bowl in 2022. They stopped being the hunted at that, or the hunter at that. Or was it the hunted? The hunter. They stopped being the hunter in 2022. Ever since then, they've been the hunted. So yes, all the pressure is on squarely the Eagles' shoulders. And to not go in there and have a little level of concern that that pressure may be too much for a young team, again, is simply insanity. Now, this is all just talk. It doesn't really matter when the game begins. It's what happens on the field. But to listen to some of the just bombastic, ridiculous rhetoric from so-called pundits out there about this football team and not think that it's coming from a complete homer space, and actually think that these people to their own selves sound like they're credible. It boggles my mind. It really does. I am not, again, this is not my direct reflection on what will happen on Sunday. I'm not yet, actually, I'm not even really, I've thought about it. Thought about what kind of game this will be. I thought about what type of X factors that are going to be involved in this football game, and there's going to be a lot of them, right? And then the other side of this whole playing with house money bit goes is to the back to the homers. I'm sorry, it's tipped towards homers tonight. It is. The homers out there are completely overlooking what happened in Week 16 as an act of God. It's just one of them things, man. Jalen went down, which led to a 36-point outpouring of offense from the Commanders. We couldn't keep them up. GJ is apparently the linchpin of the Philadelphia Eagle offense. That his departure, along with Jalen Hurts's, caused the entire thing to come apart. Now, if that's true, and if that's all it takes for this entire house of cards to blow over, we got bigger problems here, folks. You got bigger problems to think about. If that's all it takes is GJ, and Jalen Hurts, they'll have this whole thing topple over. I don't know how much of a dynasty this is when you have a team like that. And I don't believe that at all, because it goes against all you homers' philosophy, right? Who is your God? Who is the God that the homers pray to? They pray to Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman, this great executive of the year, this GM, the man, begat to Philadelphia to save them, to lead them out of the wilderness, the friggin' fraud that he is, right? That's your God, homers. You pray to him. He allegedly gave you a deep elite football team. So why would the loss of a safety who has tackling problems and emotional outbursts, why does that bring apart the end of the world? If your God has provided for you an elite football team. So what is it, homers? What side of the mouth do you want to talk out of tonight with? So my point is, and I'm back on my point, to overlook completely what happened on Week 16 or to throw it out the window as one of them things, Again, Eagle fan base, and I'm not saying this is what the Eagles are doing. This is two separate situations. It's not the Eagles, or I'm not referring to what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing under, behind closed doors. Obviously, they're professional athletes. They're preparing for a war. They're preparing to go to battle. Everything else doesn't matter. I'm talking about the slobbering troglodytes that follow this team and are unwilling to accept reality. What happened in Week 16 was a extremely glaring thing. What happened in Week 16 was, yes, a blueprint laid out on how to beat the Philadelphia Eagles that nobody apparently has been able to replicate since in some high-stakes situations. Now, the other thing that the homers are kind of falling on is the fact that this is the NFC Championship game and that the Washington Commanders are a young team and that the Eagles are battle-tested. They've been here. They are deeper. They are more elite. And all that should carry the day and take them to victory. And I say this. Why did Saquon Barkley rush for 127 yards in the first half of that Commanders game and 23 yards in the second half? Why? And don't tell me because Jalen Hurts wasn't in the game. Oh, yeah, I guess you can tell me that because what the Commanders did to them. But the Packers did it too, allegedly. The Rams tried to do it too, allegedly, and it didn't work. Jalen Hurts was not an X factor in the Rams or the Packer game. He wasn't. Honestly, I don't know. You could have had Kenny Pickett in both of those games, and the Eagles would have won both of those football games. It was Saquon Barkley for both of those games, right? Am I the only one who sees that too? I don't want to get to the altar of Jalen either. I don't have the strength for that tonight. I already went into Howie Roseman. That takes a lot out of me when I go there. So I'm not going into Jalen Hurts tonight. But the fact that the Commanders were able to do it, limit him to 23 yards. Why did they do that? I think there's a couple reasons. One, the defense. They were playing a lot of cover zero, empty zero cover based type stuff. Two, they were telling Kenny Pickett, you're going to beat us with your arm, obviously. And Kenny Pickett was moving the football, right? And three, the Washington Commander offense began to score points at a more faster clip. So the Eagles couldn't run the football. They had to revert to throwing because they had to keep pace or they had to keep ahead or they had to battle back. They're the reasons why the Eagles lost the football game. Not because Jalen Hurts got hurt. I don't think Jalen Hurts had anything to do with them losing that game. Not a thing. Because what did the homers say when they say, well, Jalen Hurts getting hurt was the reason why they lost? Then on the other side of the mouth, the homers say, well, if what's-his-face doesn't catch that ball or doesn't drop that ball, we win. Well, what is it, man? Is it the savior of Jalen Hurts is the most important thing to this team, or is it a drop pass that led to the loss? Which is it, homers? Tell me one thing, and let's stick with that. And I made this point I think, eloquently last night. I said, I believe if Jalen Hurts is not 100%, if he cannot move the way he moves, and yes, when he is moving, he is an X factor, especially behind that offensive line. But if he cannot move that way, would the Eagles be better off going with another quarterback that can throw the football and do the playbook the way it's supposed to be done? Because we don't run the playbook with Jalen Hurts. We don't. That's obvious. So would we be better off going to a Kenny Pickett or a Tanner McKee? I got you. The talent level might not be there, but they run the playbook. They can actually maybe do a slant here and there or a quick hitter or a curl route or a bubble screen or something. They can actually work all levels of the field except for throwing the ball deep, and that's it. Would the Eagles be better off with that if Jalen Hurts is not 100%? And I'm looking at this purely from a strategic point of view. You know what the Commanders are going to do. You know, and I don't think it matters if Jalen is hurt or not. They're going to stack the box. They're going to tell Jalen Hurts, they're going to say this, they're going to give him the same level of respect they would give Kenny Pickett in this game. They're going to say, beat us with your arm. Because we're not letting Saquon Barkley do it. We're not going to let that happen. I ran the numbers last night, and I'll put them back up for you. Saquon Barkley, without Saquon Barkley, the Eagles' offense equals nothing. 6,242 yards of total offense for the Eagles in 2024. 2,283 of those yards were done or accumulated by Saquon Barkley. 53 touchdowns by the offense in 2024. 15 of those by Saquon Barkley. He accounted for 30% of the Eagles' total offensive yards and 28% of their total touchdowns. Is it a secret of who's the focal point here? Who are they running the offense through? And then the homers lash back at me when I say to them, well, and then they give me this stupid ass response, but well, Jalen doesn't have the stats because he didn't have to throw. And I say to you, do you not remember weeks 1 through 4? Do you not remember when they were throwing the ball and Jalen Hurts was getting picked off every other throw? Do you not remember the 2-2 start when the offense was pass heavy? They don't throw the ball because they don't trust the quarterback to throw the ball anymore. They switched to a run-heavy offense in week 5 or 6 whenever they got back on the field, and they've been running the ball very effectively since then. So don't tell me it's a matter of flipping a light switch. Oh, they shut down Saquon. We can just return to Jalen Hurts' elite quarterbacking. Again, 361 pass attempts, only 48 to the middle. I don't know what the hell's so elite about that. So I guess in essence, what I'm trying to say is, in fact, the Commanders are playing with house money. And in fact, that makes them even more dangerous than they are on paper because they don't care. They're not supposed to friggin' be here. And for all you Eagle Homer fans out there that are still living the lie that the pressure is equally spread out between both teams, again, contact me. I'll get you the help that you need. And will free you of the demons that haunt your soul, man. I want to help you. I want to lay hands upon you, and I want to release the beast inside of you. I want to cast Satan out from your body. Oh, I mean it, man. I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to see things through actual eye, like non-green tinted light. Come on. Now listen, Sunday, all my little rhetoric and posturing and nonsense doesn't mount to a pile of anything if nobody can stop Saquon Barkley. I get that. I mean, everyone has tried. No one has been successful except for maybe the Commanders. Damn, the Rams sure weren't. 525 yards of total offense against the Rams in 2 games. Sean McVay should be goddamn embarrassed about that. Right? Another stat that I want to talk about is turnovers. This is something that the Eagles have started to do beautifully over the past 7 games. Was it 6 games? 14 turnovers in the last 6 games? Or was it 4 games? Yeah, it's like 14 turnovers in the last 4 games. I mean, it's crazy numbers. They go into this playoff game of not turned the football over at all during the playoffs. The Commanders go into this game not having turned the football over at all during the playoffs. They both go into a forcing 6 turnovers. So something's got to give maybe there. I don't know. Is this going to be a completely clean game from both teams? I doubt it. Turnover should probably rear its ugly head at some point in the game. Who commits it and at what level of damage does it cause in the game is yet to be determined. But yeah, man, so again, I'm not sitting here telling you that the Eagles are not going to win this football game. Not going to say that. I am not till tomorrow, 4:30. I'm not going to say that. I'll give you my official pick then on the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. But I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that the Eagle fan base, large parts of it, large swaths of it, the slobbering homer part of it is completely, and I'll use the word, deranged and delusional once again as it comes to the stakes of this football game for the Washington Commanders. They're not the same for the Commanders than they are for the Eagles. It's not the same. All the pressure in the world is resting on the Eagles' shoulders in this game because they know they're supposed to be here and they got to win it. There's no pressure on the Commanders, and that makes them a very dangerous team. So there you go. That is my last bit of venom about this football game. The next time I'll really get into more narrative about it will be on Sunday night when we're talking about maybe an Eagles win or, God forbid, the end of the season. Now, I want to be here for you either way. And let's put away the fangs. Let's put away our claws, right? I am here for you either way, win or loss. I will be here for you. Just come find me here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Old MattyB is here for you. I'm listening. And I want to be that. I want to snuggle you. I want to take you in my arms and I want to tell you it's going to be okay. Either way. So please remember that. I'm here. All right, there you go. There's my Eagles rant. Don't forget, tomorrow, 4:30, you'll hear more of a X's and O's version of that rant on the Birds Blast here with Kyle Quinn, our weekly Eagle pregame show, pregame show that we do here on the network every week during the football season. Kyle's back. We have lived to fight another week on the show. We will go until the season ends, and we're getting to the end. So me and Kyle will be back on tomorrow at 4:30 live in talking about that. So make sure you're there on the network for us. Yeah. So let's change gears. 22 days until pitchers and catchers report to spring training. Oh, what a feeling that is. And it wasn't that cold today. It was warmer today. Did you guys notice that? Maybe not. I'm not talking tropical now, and maybe not like by more than 10 degrees, but I felt a difference today. I felt a little bit more of it wasn't bone chilling in the afternoon as it has been. And maybe that's a sign, an early sign of spring. I doubt it. And when's Groundhog Day? The 2nd. So we'll see then. But 22 days we are from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training, and the hot stove is starting to kind of cool off as we are getting to the end of all the marquee free agents that were on the free agent market. That list is dwindling, and it dwindled by a couple more over the last few days. And we're going to get into your hot stove update here in a minute. But I'm going to give you a spoiler alert on this update. None of it concerns the Phillies. None of it. Not one of the moves. Not one of the moves of the remaining superstar free agents or the Tier A free agents, top tier free agents, whatever you want to call it, involve the Phillies. Now, there are still two very big nuggets hanging out there. Pete Alonso and Alex Bregman are still currently unemployed. The latest rumor I heard was that the Phillies were seriously in on Bregman. They were just waiting to trade Alec Bohm before they would rework a contract with him. Well, I haven't heard anything more, and we are 22 days away from the pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training. Do the Phillies dare go to spring training with the same offensive lineup that they left, that they walked off the field up there in New York with their heads between their legs, right? In shame against the Mets? Do they dare spit in the face of the Phillies faithful by bringing out the same offensive unit that they did last year? Is that fathomable? Do they have that little respect for us that they're going to do that? More and more every day, it's looking like they are. How do you feel about that? It pisses me off a little bit. It pisses me off about the ignorance and the sheer, stubbornness that they think that what they have offensively, even though it has regressed mightily over the last 2 years, apparently is going to find some switch and run to a World Series championship in 2025. Pisses me off a lot to think that. Now, maybe there's something in the works. Maybe there's not. I'm going to go maybe 70-30 that there's not in the works for Alex Bregman, and 70-30 that, yes, this is the offensive team that the Phillies are going to bring onto the field down there in Clearwater with a lot of question marks. Who's leading off? Where do you bat Bryson Stott? Alec Bohm, is he mentally ready for this after what he's been through this offseason? Are we mentally ready to go through Alec Bohm this year? Are we mentally ready for another year of Kyle Schwarber batting leadoff? Or I should say, am I mentally ready for another year of Kyle Schwarber batting leadoff? Am I ready for another frustrating year of Rob Thompson? Or any of us ready for that? A lot of questions, man. And baseball, yes, even though football is rightfully so taking center stage right now, baseball will be thrusted upon us very soon. 22 days. And is this the product that we're going to have to get behind? a pitching rotation that is still in flux. We got a 1, we got a 2. Who's the 3? Who's the 4? Who's the 5? A bullpen that has improved by adding Jordan Romano. Romero, whatever his name is. Is this what the group is? Am I expected to think this group is going to win us a World Series? And does Dave Dombrowski have the stones that throw that out there and say to us, this is my team, I believe? I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a long summer around here. And you know what? Of course, we'll be here. Officially, the Fighting's final will return in 2025. You heard it here first. The CEO of the It's a Wrap Sports Network informed me of that very bit of news a couple minutes ago through my earwig here that I have on. He told me, let the people know the Fighting's final will return in 2025. So we got that to look forward to. 162 games of hell of talking about why is Rob Thompson not moving Bryson Stott out of the 5 hole? Why does Rob Thompson not try somebody else leading off? Why can't Alec Boehm field the ground ball at third base? Why can't Nick Castellanos actually swing at a ball in the strike zone? Why isn't Bryce Harper clutch? Or maybe he is clutch in making espresso. Is that what he's been making on TikTok? Showing how he does espresso? I don't know, man. I don't know. But in 22 days, we're going to find out. But with that being said, sorry. Let's get into the hot stove report because there is something to talk about. There's a couple things to talk about. All right, let's get into the hot stove report here. We're getting down to the end of this, by the way. We're running out of hot stove reports, and we're running out of all that stuff. So let's get into tonight's hot stove report, brought to you by the great folks here over at the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Let's pick up where we left off. I believe it was with Anthony Santander, who he went to the I reported that he went to the Toronto Blue Jays on a 5-year contract. Good get for a Blue Jay team that's trying to scrape their way in that very tough AL East. He's a good get for them. Martin Perez, the starting pitcher, is now with the White Sox on a 1-year deal. Anthony Mizowitzka, the right-hand pitcher, is now with the Twins going from the Yankees on a minor league deal. Paul Sewell, the right-hand pitcher, going from Arizona to Cleveland on a 1-year deal. Richard Lovelady, the right-hand pitcher, going from Tampa to Toronto on a minor league contract with an invite to spring training. Christian Bentancur, the catcher, now heading to Toronto on a minor league deal or a minor league contract with an invite. Alan Winans, the right-hand pitcher, now is heading to New York from Atlanta off of waivers. Here we go into some of the names. Tanner Scott, who's taking his 22 saves and 1.75 ERA and 84 strikeouts from San Diego to the Dodgers as they continue to fortify that team. He signed a 4-year deal. AJ Minter is staying in the NL East. He's going to go from the Braves to the Mets as they sign him to a 2-year deal. So interesting situation with the Mets. Obviously, they lost some faith and confidence in what's his name out there. What was their closer? And now they got another closer. So you can kind of go both ways here with this AJ Minter. I wanted AJ Minter. I thought he would have looked really nice in our friggin' bullpen. I'm going to be able to see him, of course, because he's playing for the Mets. But it would have been real nice to see AJ Minter wearing Phillies pinstripes other than Mets pinstripes, as he's now going to fortify the back end of that Mets bullpen to give them some insurance there. And that's a huge pickup by the Mets as they continue to fortify. And how can you sit here and tell me on January 23rd that the Mets right now are not better than the Phillies? You can't tell me that. Randy Contreras, the right-hand pitcher, going from the Angels to the Yankees off of waivers. And there you go. There is our most up-to-date on the hot stove tracker, hot stove report. 2 players, as I mentioned, still hanging out there, or 3 technically. Pete Alonso, still a first baseman. Jack Flaherty, a starting pitcher with the Dodgers, still a free agent. And, of course, the big one, Alex Bregman, who the Phillies have been linked to, still a free agent. So I would imagine that something's going to give with those guys here very soon, as we are getting 22 days away from the start of, or 22 days from the pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training, as the Phillies will, I guess, run out the same damn group that they ran off the field with in 2024, right back out in 2025. And how does that make you feel, man? It makes me feel a little disrespected, honestly. But we'll wait and see what Bregman and Alonso do and Flattery do, as they are pretty much the last remaining big names available out there in free agency. I think it's interesting. I think it's very interesting that the Phillies have not made a move yet. And I think it's very interesting that Alex Bregman is still available. I do. I would like to know what is going on. What's going on behind the scenes? As I said, he's been linked to the Phillies. I was never in on the Alex Bregman deal. At the beginning of free agency, I didn't want nothing to do with Alex Bregman, but the fact that the Phillies have done nothing, why not? Let's bring him here. Why the hell not at this point? At least we can save face in the offseason and say we did something, right? Same thing with Pete Alonso. I have no issues about bringing him here. And it's 2 things why I would bring him here. One, and most importantly, he provides us another, more than a power bat. He's more of a contact hitter than he is a power hitter, in my opinion. Number 2, move Bryce Harper's ass back to right field. Put Alonso on first. Number 3, it rectifies the mispick of friggin' Mickey Moniak in the 2016 MLB draft. We finally can say that we finally got the right person from that draft that we should have taken number 1 overall instead of friggin' Moniak. So I'm okay with Pete Alonso coming here. And 4, stick it to the Mets any way you can. Stick it to the Mets any way you can. So, yeah, I would be okay if Alonso came here, 100%. Last I saw, I saw that, Barbara. It was 2-1 going into the second period. I haven't seen the update, but don't forget, be back here, though, immediately following the game. Sal has you on the post game tonight. But you're right, I did see that. Why didn't the Mets sign the polar bear? I don't know. I just kind of went into a rant. I don't know why. I don't know why they haven't signed. Maybe they can't afford them. Maybe it's too much money. Maybe Soto costs too much. Maybe AJ Minter costs too much. I don't know. But I would be okay with it. Bring him here. Bring Pete Alonso to Philadelphia. Put him at first base. Send Harper's ass back in the right field. His arm is fully healed. It's been 2 years. He can throw from right field. He's not going to need Tommy John surgery again. Put him back in right field. So I would definitely do that in a heartbeat. But that is your latest and greatest on the hot stove. I probably will come back and do at least one more of these when those last 3 fall, and we can talk about that. But right now, that is what we are standing at in Major League Baseball, currently in free agency, as we are running down the home stretch of the baseball offseason. Baseball is definitely the longest season out there. It's about 10 months long, and the offseason is like 2 months long, which is okay by me. And we're about ready to come back around. Division I NCAA college baseball begins on Valentine's Day. And then we got pitchers and catchers reporting 2 days before that. A week after the college baseball season starts, spring training begins, and then it's off and running to October. So it's back. It's beautiful. That means the days are getting longer, kind of getting warmer. Spring is coming. The crack of the bat and the ball going into the glove. Beautiful sounds. Can't wait. Let's get back going with baseball in 2025. I'm growing tired of Harper, actually. Barbara, I feel you. The TikTok stuff is who's oversaturated the most? Is it Harper or is it Kelsey? I guess it's Kelsey. But that TikTok crap with him making coffee and whatever else he's doing. I mean, dude, why can't you show us videos of you working on your swing, right? Why can't you show us videos of you working on the fact that you're not going to chase balls 18 feet in the ground? Show us videos of that. I'd be more interested in watching that. I'd be more interested in watching a BP session than you making espresso. Please put on your Philly Fanatic socks, hit the batting cage, and take 100 balls. Let me watch that. I'll watch that more than I will you making espresso. Yeah, I agree, Barbara. Yeah, the whole. Oh, and by the way, another move was made today that on the trade front, Jackson Profar is going to the Braves. So there you go. There's another move made by an NL East rival that could bolster the team. And once again, I asked the question, and I asked it earlier about the Mets. Now I'm going to ask it about the Braves. Are the Phillies better than the Mets and Braves on paper heading into the season? I say they are not. I say it's going to be very much similar to how it was in 2022. Of course, I hope that it works out the same way, but I'm going to say that the Phillies are third in that division right now, behind the Braves and Mets. But the beautiful thing about it is we got to play. But they definitely did not win the offseason. Baseball is the best. I love it. Yes, it is. And it's a long, long, hot season, Barbara. Wow, I didn't know all that. Yeah, that happened about an hour ago, actually. Jackson Profar was traded to the Braves. So another problem to deal with in the NL East. Profar coming from the Padres. So, yeah, there you go. There you have it. There you have it, folks. Your Phillies motivational speech for the night. Woo. All right, let's now continue on with the baseball flip. Let's go. Let's continue with my all-time Phillies roster. All right, in response to the growing question of who are my favorite Phillies of all time, I decided to just clear the battlefield and provide you with my all-time Phillies roster, right? To kind of answer the question, put it on paper, put it down so I have it saved or I can refer to it. So over the course of the last week and a half, I've been breaking it down position by position, giving you my all-time Phillies player at that position. We've gone through the infield, catcher, center field, left field. Tonight's right field. Sunday, or probably Monday, actually. Monday, do I have the post game on Monday? If I had the post game on Monday, then it'll be Tuesday. We'll do our 5 pitchers and then our closer and our manager to finish it up. But right now we're in right field. We're going to finish the outfield tonight, and then the next will be the pitchers. But let's refresh the folks at home about my all-time roster up to this point. Of course, we started at first base. I took the easy way out on that. I could not determine or distinguish or choose between Pete Rose and Ryan Howard, so I went the lazy man way, and I took both of them. I am going to say Pete Rose is my bench player, or Ryan Howard is my bench player. I took a bench player, and it was either Pete Rose or Ryan Howard. I just could not make a decision between the two of them, so I went with both of them. Second base was, of course, a lot easier as Chase Utley. No question about it. Shortstop, no question about it. Jimmy Rollins. Third base, I mean, are you kidding me? The catcher position was a little bit of a shocker for me. I went with Mike Lieberthal. I think he's the best Philly catcher we've ever had. The reason why you don't hear much about him and the reason why he's not more of a sexy name out there is because look at when he played for the Phillies. A god-awful year of baseball. You know, literally the year before they broke free, he's the Don Mattingly of the Phillies, for God's sakes. Had a very positive career. To me, I thought he was the best catcher we've ever had, honestly. So he was my all-time catcher. My center fielder, of course, Richie Ashburn, Hall of Famer. And in left field, I know he's a center fielder. I went with Gary Maddox, the minister of defense. 3/4 of the world is covered with water. The other quarter is covered by, Gary Maddox. So I went with him in left field. So tonight is right field. Again, not a right fielder by position, but as I said earlier, my outfield is predicated on power, not defense. But I feel very confident with the likes of Richie Ashburn and Gary Maddox patrolling my outfield that they can make up for any problems in right field if they happen to come up. So that being said, here you go. Here's my right fielder. Got to be the Bull. Greg Luzinski, 70 to 80, 1,328 games played, a 281 batting average, close to 1,300 hits, close to 1,000 RBIs, 223 RBIs, and an 0.852 OPS. And look at the era of baseball he played for. Played for when the things turned around in 77. So for the first 6 years of his career, he kind of struggled for some bad Phillies teams. But the complement between Luzinski and Schmidt, they don't win the 80 World Series without Greg Luzinski. They really don't. He left right after that, went off to Chicago, and kind of disappeared from there. But he still hung on I remember him, I think, playing up through the mid-'80s with the White Sox. But to me, he's my consummate outfielder. I need more power in my lineup, and Lazinski will provide that power. When I'm done with all this, I will give you my all-time lineup. But right now, I got to go with Lazinski for his power. Obviously, I'm not going for his defense, and obviously, he's not a right fielder, but I'm going for his ability to be a power bat. And of course, be my DH if I need one. I mean, I'm ripe with DHs on this team, but if I need a DH, the Bull can do that. But there you have it. My right fielder is Greg Lazinski. So that now leaves the pitching staff 5 starters and a closer, and then our manager. And you'll have my all-time Phillies rotation, or my all-time Phillies roster. So hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed making it. Barbara says, can't go wrong with Pete Rose. Yeah, absolutely. No, you can't. That's why I couldn't make a decision, Barbara. I was torn. Boone was a good catcher on Phillies teams. He was, and he does get lost in the sauce at times. I agree with you, Barbara. And of course, he was there during that run. Very good defensive. Average offensive. Would he bat around 7th, 8th in the lineup? I don't know. He was good. But I'm telling you, Lieberthal, to me, I thought he was kind of ahead of his time a little bit as a catcher in MLB. And honestly, would have liked to have seen him if he would have been playing with a team that was worth a damn in his prime, and how he would have been able to contribute there. And I think with the fact that he played for such bad teams during his tenure, and to scratch out the career that he had, I think it's pretty impressive. So that's why I went with Lieberthal. Strictly left field, I go Pat the Bat. Yeah, again, Barbara, there's a lot of left fielders. I got to say there's a lot of outfielders. To go and be like pigeon-toed and say, you're my left fielder. Center fielder is different, right? You got to have a center fielder. You got to have a guy to play center field. But left and right, to me, are interchangeable parts. I think you can play. And actually, in this day and age, you should be able to interchange all 3 of them. But that's what I went with the all-time roster. I wasn't going to get pigeon-toed into like, well, he played right field and he played left field, and I'm not putting Gary Maddox on because I'm taking Richie Ashburn and I can't have 2 center field. I wasn't going to get into all that. So I just universalized all my outfielders for this purpose of this experiment. But I agree with you. Pat Burrell, but again, did Pat Burrell really live up to the potential that he was coming out as number 1 overall, number 2 overall, whatever he was out of Miami? I mean, I thought he actually had a better career with the Giants than he did with the Phillies towards the back end of his career. So I don't know. But I feel you, Barbara. But I think Pat Burrell was a little bit off of the expectations that we had for him. He was just a tick below what we thought he was going to be. Still a very good player, but a tick below. There you go. There's my all-time Phillies roster, and that leads me to our Of the Night segment as we're getting deep into this show tonight. Can't stop it now. Once you get started, you can't stop it. All right. We are at the Of the Night segment, and as the title dictates, this is the part of the show where we talk about a Phillies prospect, a Flyers prospect, an MLB draft target, an NHL draft target, a Phillies spotlighted player, Flyers spotlighted player, whatever. We just kind of throw it out there and we talk about it. We've been stuck on the MLB draft the last couple of nights. Now we're going back to the ice. We're going back to the Flyers. We've almost finished talking about all the Flyer prospects so far this year. So let's get one more closer to that goal tonight by bringing up our next Flyer prospect. He's one of those players that blurs the line of prospect versus career AHLer. So forgive me if you don't consider this guy a prospect. I understand if you don't, and I don't know if I do, but he is considered a prospect by definition. So we're going to talk about him, and there he is. Helge Grans, that's right, the much maligned right-handed defenseman for the right-handed defenseman, currently playing for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, does find his way up to the Flyers from time to time, drafted in the second round of the 2020 NHL draft by the Kings, 6'3", 205 pounds. He'll walk the offensive blue line with the puck on his stick with relative ease, and he can mitigate risk while maintaining an aggressive, space-consuming posture when defending the defensive blue line. He skates well, has a long reach, and active stick, has good habits with his footwork. But he's also stuck in purgatory as one of those fringe guys, right? There's so many of them out there. It's the NHL is such a hard nut to crack. The 1% of the 1% play in the NHL. Now, being a career AHL, or I've said this before, and I'm not going to dog on anybody that's stuck in the AHL for a career. Listen, it's the second best league in the world, okay? And you can scratch out a career, and a very lucrative one, playing in the AHL. And typically players that hold on for a long time in the American Hockey League, they got coaching material written all over them, and they continue on in hockey in some other way, shape, or form. He's a spot guy for the Flyers. He's an injury replacement, comes up, fills a need, and gets sent back down. Is he a prospect? No, he's not. He's not a prospect in the sense of the word when you talk about prospects for the Flyers of the future. Of course he's not. But he is somebody that fills a need when called upon for the Flyers. Is he anything more than that? No. He is what he is, a fringe NHLer and a career AHLer. And there's a few of them on this with the Flyers. And you need those guys. You do. You need those guys to round out your Phantoms or your AHL team, and you need those guys to act as safety nets for your actual players. So Helge Grans is my Flyer Spotlight player of the night. Like it or lump it. I'm sorry if you don't agree, but he's there. Oh, yeah, I didn't give you his numbers. So far for Helge this season, 35 games with the Phantoms, 6 goals, 10 assists for 16 points and a -8. So there you go. Take that for what it's worth. As I said, this is not a science, man. It's now 3-1. Come on, Barbara. Hang in there. I hope it's not over. I hope Sal's not waiting for me to go off the air. All right, so let's get through this. Let's now head to our final part of the show, which, of course, you guys know this part, man. I love it.
Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. What? Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
Yep, this is the card review segment of the program. This is typically the grand finale of our night. We usually wrap the show with this, but this is definitely my favorite part. This is where we take one of my cards from my collection and we kind of just talk a little bit about it, discuss nostalgic value, financial value, intrinsic value, or just have some fun and maybe learn something about a player that's come and gone. Typically, he's come and gone. I do have a lot of current players, but tonight we're definitely going back into the past. Back to the 87 tops. That's right. We're staying in baseball. Back to 87 tops tonight. One of the more iconic sets of baseball cards ever made. And this one has a butt full of future Hall of Famers or, now current Hall of Famers, but they were future Hall of Famers then. So let's go into the 87 tops for tonight's card. And it is, do I have it on here? I don't even have it. Look at that, man. I'm not even ready for it, man. I have it. I just don't have it in the damn studio. Let's give me a minute. There it is. All right, so here we go. The 87 tops tonight is the Bill Buckner All-Star card. That's right, the 87 Bill Buckner from the his All-Star card from that series, that set. I love this card visually for a lot of reasons. One, of course, is the 87 tops, right? It's that iconic wood paneling background, and then look at what he's obviously. This is a spring training shot. This was taken down in their spring training facility at some point during the 87 spring or the 86 spring potentially. I don't know. It's something to me that just says baseball card here. This is like the quintessential baseball card pose from back in the day. This is a really, that's really all I can say about it. You see this, it reminds me of my youth. Honestly, it does. But Wade Boggs, of course, one of the better players in the history of the game, third baseman for the Yankees, Red Sox, most notably, I don't know, was he a most notable Yankee? Was he a most notable Red Sox? It's a good question. Hall of Famer, and does a lot of work though. Signs a lot of stuff. He comes to a lot of card shows and does a lot of that signing stuff. So he's active out there, giving up his signature, and his signature is quite valuable. This card signed is actually worth. I saw selling for about $300. Unsigned as a raw card, which is the card I have, you got anywhere between $1 and about 30. So depending on the type of card you have. The problem with the 87 tops is well documented. Most of those cards were cut incorrectly coming out of the manufacturer, which does nothing for their value. Absolutely nothing. That is not considered an error card. It's considered a manufacturer's defect, which is nothing valuable at all. So to find, and I have a Wade Boggs, it's really cut bad, like really bad. I'm not going to show you that one tonight, but I have multiple cards of this one, and one of the ones I have is really cut bad. But there you go. There's the 87 Bill Buckner. How much did I say Bill Buckner? Wade Boggs from Topps, and here you go. Here it is right here in its physical form. This card is probably a PSA 7, maybe an 8. So I could probably, if push came to shove, get about $15 for this card. Not bad for an 87 card for Buckner. I said it again, for Boggs. It's the Red Sox, man. For Boggs. So, but it's an iconic card. It's an iconic card from an iconic set from a Hall of Famer. And I'll live with that. But there you have it. There's MattyB's card review of the night. Getting into the end of the show here. Boggs is a great hitter. He was, and of course, mainly in the American League and that Yankee Red Sox thing. I mean, but a lot of people kind of, especially in the Red Sox world, really hated him for what he did by going to the Yankees. I mean, it really stained his reputation when he went to the Yankees. Of course, helped him win the World Series in '96. But it really stained his reputation. Or was it? Wait, not '96. Was it 2000? 98. But there you go. The Wade Boggs card, 87 Topps All-Star card, number 608 in the set, if you're wondering. And that's going to do it, man. I have come to the end of another show. I've come to the end of another week. I've come to the end of another moment with you. And I want to say thank you for all that you've done, all that you've participated in, all that you viewed in, thumbs up, criticized, trashed me, whatever. But I want to thank you. And we all thank you from the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Please don't go anywhere because the Flyers postgame is coming up right behind me. Tonight we went over homerism and how it is a real problem and how it inflicts millions of Eagles fans worldwide and how I am not going to turn a blind eye towards it. I am here for you. If you want me to help you, I can get you the help and I can liberate you from this infliction. I can cast out the demon that occupies your soul. So please reach out to me. We spoke about homerism in the light of the fact that, yes, indeed, the Washington Commanders are playing with house money on Sunday, which makes them an even more dangerous team than they already are. And that the Eagles enter Sunday with all the pressure, all the weight of the world resting on their shoulders, regardless of what the homers want to tell you. It is quite true that the Commanders have everything to win and nothing to lose in this game, because this season is a success for them on all kinds of levels. But for the Eagles, a loss on Sunday would be catastrophic. Would be catastrophic to this organization, would be catastrophic to the team, would be devastating to the homers, and I would cry too. So we went over that. We once again revealed that if Jalen Hurts is not 100%, if he is 95%, that maybe, just maybe, you should turn the ball over to a quarterback that can run the playbook, because you don't have a quarterback that provides you the X factor that Jalen Hurts has. If he can't move, if he's not mobile, then why let him play? Give it to a quarterback that they can actually use the playbook for. Have Kellen Moore actually have Kellen Moore actually run the playbook. So we talked about that. We went into some of our we talked Hot Stove, we talked Philly's all-time roster, your spotlight of the night segment, and our card review. All of that and a bag of chips. Tomorrow, 4:30, don't forget the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn right back here. Me and him, we're going to trash this thing up. We're going to talk it up, man. I will give you my official score prediction and MVP of the game. Kyle will do the same. We'll talk about the Rams. We'll talk about this one. And we'll get you set for the NFC Championship game. And, of course, the Clear the Ice tonight and Clear the Ice tomorrow night. I'm back tomorrow night for the Flyers Islanders. And I will see you tomorrow afternoon as well. And then Sal on Sunday with the Birds Flyby. Maybe a pregame show, too. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. But there you go. A busy weekend on the network. I'm glad you did too, Barbara. 100%. Matty Hurts isn't even on the injury report. He practiced fully, so no excuses. Well, yeah, we'll see. I see what they're saying, but we'll see. All right. So that's going to do it. Again, thanks for another great week. We'll be back with this program on Sunday, but a lot coming up here in the next few days. So please stay tuned to the network for all that. Until we talk again, you guys have a great rest of your night and an even better tomorrow. We'll talk real soon.